Thank you, everyone, for being here today. The time is 7:01, and I would like to welcome everybody back to open session. I'll ask everyone to rise and participate in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we begin our formal meeting tonight, we'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the loss of junior Caroline Millay over the weekend. We are heartbroken for everyone who knew and loved Caroline. I don't have words for what they're going through right now, but please let's take a minute of silence to hold them in our hearts. Thank you. One of the things that makes our community so special is how we care for each other in times of need. And as we celebrate the accomplishments of so many of our students and staff tonight, I know we'll do so with extra gratitude and humility. Please continue to keep Caroline's family and friends in your intentions, and I thank the administration and staff for their grace in supporting our students right now. So next, we will move to public participation. Marilyn, do we have anyone signed up for tonight's first? Okay, great. As is the case with all of our meetings, there are two opportunities for public participation. The first opportunity is for individuals who signed up prior to the meeting, and for those who wish to speak during our second opportunity at the end of the meeting, please pick up a form from the table just outside the Reber Center and submit it to Marilyn Zidlow to call your name during the second opportunity at the end of the meeting. Please understand that the board appreciates hearing from our community. However, we do not engage in dialogue or discussion during our meeting. If there's a comment that requires follow-up, the appropriate administrator will respond at a later time. In accordance with board policies 2230 and 830, we appreciate you limiting your comments to 3 minutes and for keeping tonight's meeting respectful and civil. Marilyn, will you please call our first speaker?
Elizabeth Coffey. Hi, my name is Elizabeth Coffey, and I have a special education senior here at LT. Tonight I'd like to provide a brief overview of the basics of special education programming available at LT for students with IEPs. As a reminder, IEP stands for Individualized Education Plan or Program. Under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, a student requires an IEP to be eligible for special education services at their public or charter school. The plan must ensure that the child receives a free and appropriate public education. An IEP designates the specialized instruction, services, and supports a child with a disability is required to receive. To qualify for an IEP, a student must be determined to have a disability. Eligible disabilities include intellectual disability, hearing impairment, speech or language impairment, visual impairment, serious emotional disturbance, orthopedic impairment, autism, other health impairment, specific learning disability, deafblindness, and multiple disabilities. A continuum of services is available for students eligible for an IEP. Services range from supports provided in the general education environment to special education environments in order to meet instructional or functional needs. Many students with IEPs at LT attend general education classes while also receiving supports from service providers such as school psychologists, school social workers, school speech-language pathologists, school counselors, school occupational therapists, school physical therapists, nurses, itinerants, and paraeducators. Other programming options for special education students include co-taught general education courses, which are classes co-taught by a general education and a special education teacher, cross-categorical special ed courses, which are instructional classes aligned with the general education curriculum but modified in order to meet students' individual learning needs, personal social development courses, which are available as both instructional content area and resource classes that are once again aligned with the general education curriculum, but modified in order to meet individual students' needs with an emphasis on social and emotional support. Learning independence for everyday life, also known as the LIFE program, which includes classes that provide direct instruction intended to address students' foundational academic and functional skills. And the Build Academic Skills for Effectiveness, also known as BASE classes, which is a resource that may be recommended to students who require skill instruction and supports related to executive functioning. Please note that students can take classes across programmatic options. For example, my son has taken LIFE program classes, general education classes, and cross-categorical classes. Transition programming offers services for eligible individuals ages 18 to 22 in multiple settings to provide meaningful practical instruction and application of independent living and vocational skills. Finally, students whose needs are more appropriately met in another setting besides LT may be outplaced to a program located elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Rose Nassif.
Hi, thank you. I'm just here to talk about the athletic fields. I know that LT is looking at upgrading facilities, including athletic fields. I did send some information to the board already about synthetic turf. I am concerned about the human health effects of synthetic turf. So I just want you to know that there are other options for improving the athletic fields, which I'm in support of. I love sports. I want to see kids have the opportunity to play, but replacing grass with plastic is something I'm not in favor of. I think they're toxic. There's a lot of research. There's a growing movement of parents, environmentalists, health professionals that are doing research and bringing attention to the toxic chemicals that are on synthetic turf playing fields. So I know that we already have Bennett Field, but there's been talk about some other fields possibly being converted to synthetic turf. So aside from the chemicals, I'm concerned about the more severe injuries because of the speed at which students can travel on synthetic turf, tearing of the ACL and different injuries because of the way that the cleats don't release from the synthetic turf. That's why NFL and pro soccer players prefer to play on grass. A lot of the studies that say that synthetic turf is safe is done by businesses or organizations that have a financial interest in continued, arguably excessive play. The fields get really hot. Most recently, I was at a University of Maryland football game, and they were honoring a player that had died of heat stroke. Not necessarily from turf, but the fields can get up to 140, 170 degrees. They accelerate climate change. They are made at plants called ethane cracker plants. The fields are made of plastic, so there's a lot of pollution that is generated in greenhouse gas emissions. So when we replace grass, which absorbs carbon dioxide, with plastic, we're contributing to climate change. They're still expensive to maintain. So I know we have a field. You will look into that, what it costs to maintain Bennett fields, but I'm really think we should examine some options, be more forward thinking. I recently learned of a project in Northbrook where they were able to store water underneath and harvest that water to irrigate the fields. So just, I urge you to look into other options so we can have sports and still have clean air, water, and soil. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy Murray and Lori Murphy.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Lori Murphy. I have been a resident of the community for over 30 years. I have raised 3 children, all who have graduated from Lyons Township High School. I'm also a paraeducator here at Lyons Township High School. As Lisa Hammond, a fellow para, stated at the last board meeting, we as paras want to give you an idea of what we do here and our different roles we play as paras, especially during this important year of our negotiations. This is my 11th year here working at LT. I have worked the majority of that time in our LIFE program. For those of you who are unfamiliar with our LIFE program, LIFE is an acronym for Learning Independence for Every Day. Students enrolled in this program are generally students with autism, Down syndrome, or have some sort of intellectual or physical disability that needs more support than our average special ed students. What does a day look like for those of us paras in the LIFE program? Our day starts with meeting our students at their buses or parent drop-off and making sure they have all of their things. We walk into the building with them and help them navigate to their lockers if needed, and then to their first period classes. Within the classroom, our role is to support the students as needed to stay on task and assure they understand the lesson that is being presented. Each day is presented with a different challenge that needs to be addressed before a student can continue with their learning. Some of these challenges may be focusing, behavioral, or just social, to name a few. Our LIFE program has a large handful of students who are nonverbal or struggle with the use of their voice and use electronic devices we call talkers that act as their voice. We, as paras, help them navigate their talkers so they can communicate with their teachers and classmates. In the LIFE program, we as a team meet regularly with the teachers and other paras to collaborate on each student and their goals they are working on and the best strategies to accomplish those goals. Other roles we play as paras in the LIFE program are toileting responsibilities, assisting students changing clothes for PE, getting in the pool on swim days with our students, lunchroom responsibilities, which could include feeding a student, and just escorting our students in the hallways so they know where they're going. LIFE paras end their day similar to how it started, making sure our students have everything they need and escort our students to their buses, parents, or clubs they may happen to have on that given day. I absolutely love what I do and have continued to request being placed in our LIFE program each year. Even though it can sometimes be an emotional and physical job, and not for everybody, the rewards I receive from the smiles on our students' faces while knowing I made a difference in their lives here at LT is what keeps me coming back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Cindy Murray, and I'm a nurse para at South Campus. Under the job description, I'm a para. However, I am a licensed nurse. Therefore, my day as a para looks a little bit different than most. My peer is Kathleen Brand-White at North, and my fellow nurses are also here. Our day begins at 7:30 with a line of students in the office, each with different requests for needs. For example, my first student in the office may have a doctor's note for PE limitations. How do I process this? I put it in Infinite Campus, email their PE teachers of such limitations. My next student also has a PE note, but they're on crutches. With this, my steps would be similar in terms of entering the note into Infinite Campus and notifying their PE teachers. However, I would have to give them an elevator key with a pass for extra time passing periods and a note for the student to have a helper carry their backpack since they're on crutches. The next student may be a girl with menstrual cramps and requesting to rest with Tylenol. I would give her the proper dosage of Tylenol and let her lay down for a while. I would check on her in 15 minutes with hopes that she would return to class and not miss important lectures. Next is a panic attack. He doesn't know what to do. First, a set of vitals, including blood pressure, pulse, and O2 stats are taken to rule out any medical problems. Then we try some deep breathing exercises. After that, we have the student relax and control their breathing. After, we ask the student if they know how the panic attack was triggered. When the student is stable and found to have anxiety related, then the counselor and social worker is notified. There have been multiple times in my 11 years of working with my other nurses here at LT, we've had to be called on an emergency throughout the building and out on the football field due to broken bones, seizures, sprained ankles, choking, and open flesh wounds. After triaging the situation or assessing the situation quickly and thoroughly, we have several paths we take. First, we, being myself and along with the nurses, can administer medication to a student if needed, control the bleeding by pressure dressings. If it's a seizure, we time how long the seizure lasts, the activity of the seizure, if they're staring into space, muscle spasms, and so on. For the seizure, we would follow the student's personal emergency action plan regarding their seizures. If it's a broken bone, we would immobilize the bone or joint to prevent further injury. All these situations and more may warrant a call to the paramedics, in which case the AP office is notified, a call to the parent and resource officer is notified. We then have the AP office sending us a list of students pending field trips. We have to make sure that each student has, if they're on medications or health conditions that may prevent them from participating in the field trip. Given the quick and brief summary of my day, by now with everything mentioned, it is now beginning of the students' lunch period, and it's time for the 8 students to come in for their daily medications, which I at that point administer. After that, we have a diabetic student who comes in as needed with their insulin pump malfunctioning in need of diabetic supplies. The supplies consist of insulin that's dropped off at the beginning of the year with an action plan, snacks to raise up their blood sugars, needles to administer the insulin for high blood sugars, and these actions would be in place by a physician for the student's personal diabetic action plan, which hopefully we plan on and put into Infinite Campus at the beginning of the school year. I also handle the concussion list for the trainers and Dr. Harrison. The concussion list is a list of students who have concussions that are diagnosed by either Dr. Harrison and/or the athletic trainers. My responsibility is to notify the counselor of the concussion protocol, which consists of limiting screen time, phone time, rest, and extra time for testing and homework. When the student who has a concussion is on rest PE, I would assess them for their symptoms such as headache, light sensitivity, nausea, dizziness, lightheadedness. When they are diagnosed with concussion, I would notify the counselor, PE teacher, and the AP and driver's ed teacher, if needed, of being on concussion protocol. In addition, we mentioned above, my responsibilities include water cooler, laundry deliveries, ordering supplies such as Band-Aids, Tylenol cups, wound saline, Lysol, gloves, Kleenex, contact lens solution, and so on. That's ordered in the beginning of the school year. In conclusion, my role is to manage the flow of the students from the health office and make sure that we attend to their needs as best we can. This includes checking with each student, triaging the student, referring to them to be seen by another nurse, while managing my other responsibilities. I also maintain the electronic health records, process physicals, including many other responsibilities. The primary responsibilities of health office para is to create, maintain, and well-organized and efficient workspace. This involves coordinating the flow of students through the health office, enforcing policies and procedures, and the necessary supplies. In addition to this role, I am a licensed nurse. I am also able to take vital signs, respond to emergencies, administer medications, and provide health education to students and staff. I am also building relationships and providing support to our students with mental health needs. I consider it a privilege to be a part of the support of our students and work with a great team in both North and South campuses. And that's not a typical day, right? Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes our public participation portion.
Thank you. All right, let me find my space. Yep. Oh, perfect. Thank you. So now we will move to our student representative report. Emily.
Hi everyone, happy October. I hope you're all enjoying the crisp fall air, the changing leaves, and everything October has to offer. By this point of the year, students have settled into their academic routines, and with quarter grades just being submitted on Friday, many are getting a reality check on how they're doing. The shift in weather, with mornings dipping into the 30s, has made students even more eager to power through their days. The phrase lock-in has become popular, with many saying that they need to lock in on college applications and schoolwork. This mindset is reflective on how many students are approaching the second half of the semester, focused and determined, but also feeling the weight of it all. That said, students have really enjoyed last week's and this week's schedule. The lighter workload and schedule changes have seemed to ease some of the October blues, giving them a much-needed mental break and having more time to finish up those college essays as they push through the fall. Now on to the sports highlight. Fall sports are wrapping up and many teams are heading into their sectionals, playoffs, and conference competitions. The varsity football team has made history this season, becoming the 2024 West Suburban Silver Conference champions, a huge accomplishment, especially considering the last time LT won the conference outright was in 1987. This remarkable achievement has sparked a wave of school spirit, with the excitement surrounding Friday night games at an all-time high. Meanwhile, the boys varsity soccer team is gearing up for playoffs, which begin this Wednesday against Proviso West. Additionally, both the girls' tennis and girls' cross-country teams have advanced to sectionals, contributing to the success of LT's fall sports season. The girls' cross-country team competed at conference this past Saturday, marking the beginning of the state series, with regionals scheduled for this weekend. Now on to the activity highlight. Congratulations to the chess team on a great day at the Red Devil Chess Challenge. The team finished 3-1 on the day for 6th place. Additionally, the team finished 9th in the open section. I'd also like to take a moment to give a big shout out to Dr. Tyrell in honor of Nationals Principals Month. On behalf of all the students, I want to express our gratitude for the unwavering support you give us at the tournaments and sporting events. Your thumbs up selfies have become iconic, and we're lucky to have such an amazing principal. Now on to the academic highlight. I'm proud to report that 24 students from the class of 2025 have been recognized as National Merit Cum-Dem students, placing them in the top 3% of all PSAT test takers nationwide. Additionally, 8 students have earned the distinction of National Merit semifinalist, ranking them among the top 1% students in the country. These achievements highlight the dedication and academic excellence of students, so congratulations to you all. And that is it for the report tonight. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you all have a great rest of your week.
Thanks so much, Emily. We couldn't agree more about Dr. Tyrell. Great. Dr. Waterman.
Thank you, President Gretsch. A lot of celebrations tonight as part of my superintendent report. I want to start with a couple of, or at least one routine item for the board, and that is the monthly FOIA report. Just a reminder that in your packet you'll find a memo that provides the monthly FOIA report since our last meeting in September. We also want to highlight the LTCAC consensus report. So we're excited tonight to share feedback from our first LTCAC meeting of the year, which was held on September 18th. The topic of discussion was student attendance at LT, and specifically our advisory council had an opportunity to hear a presentation from Dr. Owens, Dr. Tyrell, and Mr. Davis that included an overview of the supports and interventions that are in place at LT to support students around tardiness and attendance. Tonight, we are pleased to have LTCAC Chair Sean Kennedy to share just a couple brief highlights from each of the table consensus questions. So Sean, thanks for being here tonight to share some of those highlights from our first meeting.
Thank you for having me, sir. Just a quick little commercial that we're always looking for more people to join our meetings.
Yes, we are.
Next one's Thursday, November 14th. It'll be here at North Campus at room 251 at 6:30 p.m. And then we have 2 more on scheduled Wednesday, February 12th and Thursday, May 8th. So please tell everybody about it and come out and see what we do. As Dr. Waterman said, our discussion revolved around the attendance, specifically chronic absenteeism. Why does this matter? The U.S. Department of Education conducted a comprehensive study which demonstrated that students who attend school regularly are 1.7 times more likely to achieve proficiency in reading and math. Students who attend at a rate of 95% or higher are more likely to earn A's and B's. Students who attend regularly are 2.5 times more likely to graduate from high school. And schools with higher attendance rates have a more positive school culture, lower rates of discipline, and increased engagement of community. So there was 3 questions that were posed to the group. And I'll read the questions and I'll just take a couple of bullet points, but the one overwhelming answer that we got in all 3 questions was more activity for students in school, clubs, organizations, sports. When you tie a student to something at school, they're more likely to attend on a regular basis. So the first question was, reflecting on the data and information that was just shared, what surprised you and what was different from your thoughts prior to the presentation? One of the answers was seniors have the most absences. They were surprised and they were not surprised. Proviso in our district or in our area, Proviso West and Oak Park were at the 2 opposite ends. And one of the questions that the group posed was, what can we find out from what policies they have in place? Maybe something to avoid that's not working or something that is clearly working. Second question was, when you think about attendance and on-time behaviors, what ideas do you have for monitoring students to demonstrate positive attendance and on-time behaviors? Positivity, a sense of belonging. So reassuring students that are in class on time and in their seats, make a note of it as a teacher. Incentives. There was a lengthy discussion about grade versus grade, or even campus versus campus on attendance and tardiness. Kind of get the students, children involved to try to win something for the end of the year or a quarter. And the last question, how can LTHS better communicate with involved families and students in promoting good attendance habits? Personal phone calls and text messages as opposed to emails and auto calls. I think the overwhelming thought was we get a lot of emails from LT as it is, so something specific to our children. If you have that personal information, reach out to us personally as parents. And another one that I liked was rather than just talking to parents and texting and emailing, if it is a situation with their child, having them come in to discuss it. As a parent, that's something I never wanted to have to do with any of my children. So I think when you get the parent involved in the school to talk about it, it was a positive benefit. And again, lastly, I'll just close with November 14th, 6:30, right here in room 251. Please join us.
Thank you,
That's
Sean.
it.
We
Thank you.
appreciate you being here. I would just add one thing to what Sean presented. We have a website. The LTCAC website includes all the slide deck and materials and feedback that the council received at the last meeting, so we keep that updated with all the materials. So again, we're always looking for members to join. So thanks again, Sean, for being here. All right. Probably definitely the best part of the meeting is our student recognition. We have a lot of students to recognize tonight, and then also some staff members to recognize tonight as well. So President Gretchen and I are going to move down to the front of the stage to continue that. Okay, as I said before, we are so proud to present some recognition to some well-deserving students. The College Board National Recognition Programs award academic honors to high-performing underrepresented students. The 5 national recognition programs included within the College Board National Recognition Program include the National African American Recognition Program, National First Generation Recognition Program, National Hispanic Recognition Program, and National Indigenous Recognition Program. Eligible students must meet the following criteria to qualify. They must earn a GPA of at least 3.3 or higher. They must earn a PSAT NMSQT or PSAT 10 assessment scores that are within the top 10% of assessment takers in each state for the program, or earned a score of 3 or higher on 2 or more AP exams by the end of 10th grade. We are proud tonight to celebrate the following students for being recognized as National African American Scholars. Our first celebration is for Samuel Chukwunanye. Congratulations, Sam. Our next awardee is Amaya Davis. Our next awardee is Shane Harris. Miley McCullum. Marshawn Russell. Congratulations to all of our National African American Recognition Scholars. Let's hear it again for them. LT is also proud to celebrate the following students for being recognized as National First Generation Scholars. Our first awardee is Amaya Davis. Congratulations to Xavier Gonzalez. Congratulations to Anthony Isidoro Juarez. Let's hear it again for our National First Generation Scholars. LT is proud to celebrate the following students for being recognized as National Hispanic Scholars. Sarah Amperan. Noemi Arredondo. Okay. Congratulations to Valerie Estrada Sanchez. Congratulations to Joshua Fernandez. Congratulations to Katerina Gokovic. Congratulations to Clarissa Gonzalez. Congratulations to Xavier Gonzalez. Congratulations to Raphael Klazinski. Congratulations to Derek Martinez. Congratulations to Alexander Matisik. Congratulations to Jonathan Medrano. Is Jonathan here? Kevin Myers. Kevin even make it? Nayeli Negron. Lucas Nath. Aaron Obert. Hunter Pawlowski. Richard Rivera. Marco Soria. Kyler Stoiber. Brianna Vera. In the spring, following the PSAT NMSQT administration, the National Merit Scholarship Corporation identified 50,000 program participants nationwide with the highest PSAT NMSQT selection index scores. About 34,000 of the 50,000 high scores in each annual National Merit Scholarship Program are named commended students based on a National Selection Index qualifying score. More than 16,000 of the high scores, which represents less than 1% of the nation's high school graduating seniors, qualify as semifinalists. We are so proud tonight to celebrate a group of students for being recognized as National Merit Scholarship Commended Scholars. Please congratulate Jack Anderson. Leo Barrett. John Farley. Jacob Graber. Sammy Kilfay. Sammy Kilfay, sorry. Ian Knorrschild. Granny Kristufik. Marissa Lynn. Brendan Lopez. Finn Manning. Peter Martin. Sarah McMillan. John Nikolich. Lucas Peterson. Daniel Popovich. Lily Ruiz. Benjamin Scaife. Nicholas Schaller. Brooke Sherhay. Jaden Smiley. Madeline Smith. Kyler Stoiber. And Hannah Vadbunker. That was our biggest group. Let's hear it up for our National Merit Scholarship commended students. So again, we are so proud to celebrate the following students now for being recognized as National Merit Scholarship semifinalist scholars, which represents less than 1% of the nation's high schools graduating seniors. Please congratulate Allie Downs. This is an amazing accomplishment. Hunter Frommelt. Daniel Kinzel. William Madigan. Augustine Messia. William Nelson. Catherine Polomsky. Muriel St. Arnaud. Can we hear it up for all of our National Merit Scholarship Recognition Program scholars? Congratulations to all of our students. Got to get some pictures, right? So a couple of staff recognition opportunities tonight as well. Jordan Engelhart, who serves as an automotive teacher here at LT, has been named a grand prize winner of the 2024 Harbor Freight Tools for Schools Prize for Teaching Excellence, winning $30,000 for himself and $70,000 for our school's Applied Tech program. This prize, which is now in its 8th year, was created to recognize excellent high school trades teachers. Since 2017, more than $8.9 million has been awarded to over 150 teachers and their schools' applied tech programs. This year, there were more than 900 applications for the prize, which included 3 rounds of judging, each by an independent panel of experts from education, industry, nonprofits, and philanthropy. Mr. Engelhart was one of 5 grand prize winners here in the United States. The winners teach a variety of skilled trades, including construction, carpentry, welding, automotive, ag mechanics, and industrial technology. In all, 25 high school teachers from around the country were awarded this outstanding award. Jordan's quote in his application was, "What I love most about teaching is getting the opportunity to encourage and motivate students on a daily basis. I'm blessed with the opportunity to literally change the lives of young adults," he wrote in his application. So let's hear a big round of applause for Mr. Engelhart. He was not able to make it tonight, but we will certainly give him another token of our appreciation for all the great work he does with our students. So it's also my honor to present a quarterly Vita Plena Award recipient for the school year. The Vita Plena Award, just as a little background, has been presented by the superintendent to a deserving staff member since the mid-1990s. The award is generally presented to an individual who embodies the themes of inspiration, creativity, kindness, selflessness, and overall, just someone who goes above and beyond in service to our school community. As we looked to honor a staff member with the Vita Plena Award for quarter 1, Kathleen Brand-White, who serves as a para-educator in the health office at North Campus, was a natural choice. Kathleen was hired as a para here in our health office in October of 2014, which means she's actually celebrating her 10-year anniversary this month. Kathleen earned her Bachelor's of Science degree from Illinois State University, majoring in chemistry, and her work highlights prior to being at LT included working as a chemical engineer at Magnavox and also working as a chemist at Solopac Pharmaceuticals. She's also been actively involved in community government and served as the village clerk for River Forest from 2017 to 2021. In the health office, she provides a wide range of duties, as Cindy mentioned earlier in this evening's presentation. But overall, she always does it with a smile on her face. We are so proud to work with Kathleen as she supports our students and families here in the North Campus Health Office. And I really just think everything that she does embodies what the Vita Plena Award is about, which is why we are honored to recognize her here tonight. Kathleen, congratulations, and thanks for all the different ways that you support our students, our staff, and the LT community. Give that to her.
Good evening, Dr. Waterman, Board of Ed members, Central Leadership Team, students, parents, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for shining a light on the important work we do in health services. I am honored to receive this recognition and accept it on behalf of both the North Campus and South Campus health offices. No one works in isolation, and I'm so grateful for our exceptional team. I have been fortunate to work with some outstanding nurses, specifically Debbie Clay, Julie Loftus, Jovi Cacavelli, and Laura Byrne. These strong, intelligent, caring women set a standard that has guided me these past 10 years, especially during the darkest days of the pandemic. I also want to thank my family, many of whom are here tonight. Thank you for your encouragement and support. My parents, Sharon and Lou, my brothers, Louis and Andrew, and my sister, Bridget, and all of their families. Thank you to my children for all the love and joy you bring to my life. My daughter, Hannah, and her husband, Andrew, my son, Sammy, and his partner, Katie. And thank you to my dear friends, Jean and Jenny, for always being there for me. I also want to express my gratitude to my late husband, Kurt, who encouraged me to apply for this position at LT and for supporting me during those early days. I have had the privilege of working with many extraordinary staff, amazing students, and wonderful families over the past decade. They inspire me every day, and I pledge to continue my quest to live the LT motto, A Vita Plena. Thank you.
As we know, LT is such a special place, and obviously one of the best parts of our jobs is getting a chance to recognize our students and our staff on nights like tonight. So with that, I will say that concludes my superintendent report. So congratulations to everyone who got recognized tonight.
These truly are the best meetings where we get a chance to recognize everybody. So we'll give it a minute. We're also very used to this.
That final stretch, the reality of it.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.
You don't want to stay for the rest, huh?
Studying, Brian. It's all the studying. Yeah, they didn't get those grades by not doing their homework. I know. That's right.
There's 2 Monday night football games tonight. That's all.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
All right. Well, while everyone is still filing out, we actually do have another acknowledgement and recognition, and that is for outgoing board member Alvia Nava. So she is not able to be here tonight, but again, we want to thank her for stepping up and volunteering her time in service of the LT community. And we do have a resolution to read that I think sums it up. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. Resolution Commendation of Services by Alvia Nava. Whereas Alvia Nava faithfully served as a member of the Board of Education since 2023, and during her tenure served as a member of the LT Community Advisory Council and IASB Delegate Assembly Representative. Whereas she has given generously of herself to the task of providing board governance and guidance to the Lyons Township high school community. And whereas she has unselfishly devoted her time and energies not only to her duties as members of the school board, but also her understanding and appreciation of public education in our American society. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of Lyons Township High School District 204 warmly expresses its gratitude and appreciation to Alvia Nava, pays tribute to her leadership abilities and accomplishments, and wishes her continued success during the years ahead. Signed this 21st day of October, 2024. Can I please have a motion and a second to adopt this resolution as I have read it?
So moved.
Second? Thank you. Roll call, please.
Member Alvarez?
Yes.
Member Vita Daniels?
Yes.
Member Dillon?
Yes.
Member Strewing?
Yes.
Member Thomas?
Yes.
Member Gretsch?
Yes. All right.
I'll just add to the board, I mean, obviously I want to thank Elvia for her dedication and service as well, but earlier tonight I was able to present her with a framed copy of the resolution as well as a small token of appreciation from the board. So just wanted the board to know that.
Thank you for doing that. Okay, moving on to unfinished business. We will begin this evening with unfinished business and the consideration of approval of the second reading of the 2025-26 school year. Scott Egerton.
Thank you very much, President Gretsch. We are looking to approve our calendar for the next year. As you looked through, we have no changes from the previous calendar. We did receive actually the fewest number of suggestions we've ever received, and it changes nothing in the recommendation by the administration for the calendar you see before you. So I recommend that you approve the calendar as presented.
Any questions or?
Well, I mean, I know that there was one comment that came in to the board, so just, was that addressed with the individual?
That was not. So the suggestion was to move spring break to the week earlier. That was the only comment we received on that. So that would not be our recommendation. Our recommendation would be to keep it how we had it the first in September.
Right, but did we like explain that to the individual?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually had a conversation with that parent.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right.
Just remind me again, Brian, that generally or even Scott, that our feeder districts follow suit. Yeah. And do we set the?
We share it with them.
Okay.
They typically do, but they don't always do. But
Right.
we share, like after tonight, pending approval, I'll share this calendar with the
Yeah, I would say probably
superintendent.
historically
Yeah. They typically try to
Yeah.
be consistent.
Thank you.
All right. Then can we have a motion to approve the 25-26 school year calendar as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Member Vita Daniels?
Yes.
Member Dillon?
Yes.
Member Struing?
Yes.
Member Thomas?
Yes.
Member Alvarez?
Yes.
Member Gretsch?
Yes. All right. Thank you, everybody. Next is an informational item only, and that's the board's continued discussion regarding future facilities funding and the Willow Springs property. And this will be quick because we had to reschedule our meeting with the Pleasantdale School District and are working on a few dates in November. So there's no additional information to share since our last meeting, but I will let you know as soon as we have a date confirmed. All right, that concludes unfinished business. And so the first item for new business is the consideration of approval of an HMO insurance plan added to the current options for the District 204 medical benefits effective January 2025. So, Brian Stachatz, I don't know if you had anything to add?
Yeah, thank you, President Gretsch. Nothing more to add. We think that this is a positive move for our employees. We think it's a good step for the Board of Education because it's also going to save the district, potentially the district, some money as well. And so I think that this is a highly recommended. And the only other point that I would put out there as we discussed all of this at the committee of the whole meeting is that we talked a little bit about the fact that it's a restricted network and that we changed the language on number 5 there, that users are encouraged to verify their medical providers are in our HMO network via the Blue Cross Blue Shield website or phone call to Blue Cross Blue Shield to ensure coverage for their medical procedures. So that was the change in the language that we put here.
Great.
Other than that, nothing else has changed.
And just to confirm, this is not taking anything away, any options, this is only adding to the options that everybody will have to choose from.
That's correct. It's just right now, it's an additional option to our medical plan offerings.
Great, thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you for making that change.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from anybody? I know we talked about it a bit at our last meeting.
That was a good discussion. I really appreciated, getting that insight and also being able to provide some different options that could be potentially more affordable too. Thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.
All right. Well then, with that, can we have a motion to approve the addition of an HMO insurance plan added to the current options for the District 204 medical benefits effective January 2025 as presented?
So moved. Second?
Great. Roll call, please.
Member Dillon?
Yes.
Member Struing?
Yes.
Member Thomas?
Yes.
Member Alvarez?
Yes.
Member Vita Daniels?
Yes.
Member Gretsch?
Yes. All right. And then we're back to Brian with the consideration of approval for a change order for Effie Moran.
Yes, correct. Thank you, President Gretsch. And so this change order is something that we don't typically see, this type of a change order in our construction projects. First of all, F.E. Moran was the company that installed the air conditioning in the B wing and the C wing at South Campus during the summer of 2022. You may also recall that as part of that contract, we had the replacement of the 9 air handling units at the North Campus field house, but that project was delayed due to the inability to acquire the equipment in a timely manner. So that was actually completed in the summer of 2023. And so at this particular time, we do have the final change order here. And this particular change order adds $96,681.38 to the contract. Again, as I pointed out in my memo to everyone, to the Board of Education, this really, if you look at those specific line items there are a number of adds, there are a number of deductions. But if you look at the line items related to the delay, the storage of the equipment that was delivered late, and then also the remobilization, the additional labor costs, those types of things to the following summer of 2023, that was about $111,000. Had we had the ability to obviously finish all of this work in the summer of 2022, those costs would not have been there, and we actually would have been under budget, which is fairly common for our projects here. So at this point, we would be asking the Board of Education to approve this change order. Again, the original contract amount of $6,331,000 would be increased by $96,681.38 to $6,427,681.38. I'd be happy to answer any questions on this for you, as well as we have our architect, Ed Wright, available also for any questions you might have on any of this.
It's like, it's been a while since we talked about this project.
It has, right.
Yeah, it's been.
Brian, go ahead and ask it.
Oh, sorry, I got curious.
No, go ahead, I was just making comment, it's been a while.
I was just like, so where then are we funding this from? Like the addition? Isn't there this addition?
When we started this project, we had moved the money to the 60 fund, and so the money will be coming out of that 60 fund to cover the cost of this.
Are you asking about the
So is it already budgeted or not? Or
It is currently budgeted for in that 60 fund, because I had put additional money in there back when we actually moved the money originally. I think that was in 2022 for that. So that's where that money will be coming from.
okay.
Okay.
In addition to that, there's also been interest earnings that are in that account also. So there are dollars available in that account to pay for this.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
If there aren't any other questions, can we have a motion to approve the change order for F.E. Moran as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Member Strobing?
Yes.
Member Thomas?
Yes.
Member Alvarez?
Yes.
Member Vita Daniels?
Yes.
Member Dillon?
Yes.
Member Gretsch?
Yes. Thank you. The next item is the consideration of approval for a South Campus sewer line replacement request for emergency authorization. Brian.
Thank you, President Gretsch. Again, another item that we don't like to bring to the Board of Education. However, with the ongoing construction in the courtyard of the new cafeteria at South Campus, we have seen a number of issues with the sewer lines that run through that area. Those sewer lines are original to the building, and I think we had mentioned in there they were installed in 1954, 1955 in that time frame. And so what we believe is occurring is that with all of the construction equipment in there, they were probably not in great shape in the first place, but with the vibration of that construction equipment, we're starting to see quite a few failures in there. We've had a few replaced already. We also had a plumbing company come out and look at the rest of what's there, because we said, since we're performing the construction there now, this is the time to actually, if the other ones are in bad shape, to replace them, so that we are not now going back at some point and then having to either change, or I should say remove areas that we just renovated, go into concrete floors that are just recently renovated, all of that sort of thing. So we said this is the time to take a look at those so we get that project completed. And so, as you see, we had a quote here for roughly $103,000 to complete that work. So typically, anything over $50,000, we would be required to go to bid for. However, we are looking to, and really kind of need to complete this work before this winter begins, because number one, I think the most important issue is the fact that if we continue to lose more of those sewer lines, we're going to have to replace those as we go, because those are still in use for the building as sanitary sewer lines. And then secondly, we want to get these repaired and in place before we get ourselves really under roof there in the construction. And then moving forward, really, it'll be too late for us to do those in the spring, because a lot of that work will already be completed. So really, those are the two reasons we're asking the board for this. We typically don't ask for this type of authority. We are obviously would be asking the board to approve the emergency authority to move forward without that formal bidding process. Because normally, as I said, anything over $50,000, we're required to go to a formal bid process. But we have this exemption in school code that allows us to do this. So that being said, be happy to answer any questions on this for any of you. You have a memo in there from Brad Drake, our Director of Building and Grounds, who's also here and available to answer any questions. The information that I gave you, and then you have the quote from the plumbing company as well. We did seek another quote from another plumbing company, and we had determined that they provided an incomplete quote to us. So this is where we stand as of right now on this. Again, any questions, be happy to answer them.
No, thank you.
And I appreciate Brad looking into this and bringing this to our attention, because this could be pretty disastrous. I mean, you know, right, to be in the middle of such a big improvement project and have this go awry. Is there any way to know with this work, because I don't see it here, like just how, what like approximate percentage of our sewer lines will be repaired or in a better place than what we currently have?
That's a good question. Brad, do you happen to have a thought on that?
That section is, looks to be about 280 feet. It varies in size. This is original cast iron piping. Your usual lifespan of cast iron piping is anywhere from 40 to 60 years. This happens to be underground, so that time should actually be less. Nowadays, when they put piping in, they'll encase it. Back then, they didn't. They just threw dirt right over it. So is your question the remaining part of the building, or just for that area?
Yeah, I just kind of want to think about that comparatively to the building, so it's probably like 1/10 of the section of
Probably even less than that. It's a smaller percentage out there. We constantly keep an eye on all of our cast iron waste lines that are remaining in both buildings, and we have them repaired as they come around. This area specifically is a problem due to the construction, and I think that the heavy vibrations sped up the breakdown process of that piping.
Sure. And do we know, like, then how long the new replacement pipes would last?
Oh, yes. We're going with heavy-duty plastic. The actual gauge, I don't know offhand, but it's heavier than your usual even PVC that you would get in the store. PVC will last forever as long as it's not cracked. Usually when PVC gets damaged is during excavations. They'll accidentally bump the PVC. Well, we're not going to be doing any excavations in there for a while, so this should last realistically 100 years. It's plastic.
And one other quick point, we have, as part of our budget this year, I have money in the O&M fund that I set aside for capital projects. We talked about that last month at the adoption of the budget, so that is where the money would come from for this particular project.
Thank you.
Thank you. Where else like one?
How long do we anticipate this work will take, and is it going to set our overarching project back at all?
That's a good question. Brad, I know you know the answer to that one.
I spoke with the project manager for Omega Plumbing on Friday. I'll speak with him again tomorrow morning. His plan is they can pretty much excavate at any time. They're already working out there. Everything's already ripped up and open. I would imagine he's probably going to subcontract to one of the companies that are already there. Omega happens to be on site right now, too. So his plan is to excavate at any time, and then we would like to get the work done over the Thanksgiving break. It should take him 1 day to rip out and 1 day to put the new piping in. So we would lose service of the restrooms in that area, and I'll have to evaluate to see if it's going to affect the entire building. But it should be 2 days, so I would imagine that Wednesday and then the Friday after Thanksgiving, but you could always run into problems, so probably, I'd figure in for a 3rd day of work.
And that's not anticipating setting back our entire project? I mean, we're talking a couple weeks out here, right, before Thanksgiving?
Correct. No, there shouldn't be any issues. I've been in communication with the general contractor, and that's why we pushed, why we have to get this done as soon as possible, so that it doesn't impact the other work taking place.
Okay.
I guess my only other question is, the bid that we had reached out for, they didn't give us a full, complete bid. Do we feel like the bid that we're getting here is a reasonable bid?
I do, based on the fact that the partial quote, the inaccurate quote that I got from the second contractor was for roughly $35,000, and it was like 1/3 of what he should have quoted. In fact, later today, I actually got the quote, full quote from that contractor too late, and it was for over $200,000. So once again, he inaccurately quoted the work.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Okay. Well, can we have a motion to approve the emergency authorization for the South Campus sewer line replacement as presented?
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Member Thomas?
Yes.
Member Alvarez?
Yes.
Member Vita Daniels?
Yes.
Member Dillon?
Yes.
Member Struing?
Yeah.
Member Gretsch?
Yes. All right. Thanks, everybody, and thank you for being on top of this. Really
Thanks, Brad.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, and our final action item is the consideration of approval of the resolution to adopt e-learning program in lieu of emergency days. Scott Agerding.
Thank you very much, President Gretsch. Just a quick note of background. During the pandemic, that was the first time that the state began to allow e-learning plans. And as that rolled out, they've since added a little bit more oversight and some approval levels. So we are now in a cycle of every 3 years needing to recertify our e-learning plans. So it's time for us to do that. What you have before you is essentially the exact same plan we've been using. If you recall, we used it last year twice for 2 days. This gives us the opportunity to not have to extend the school year into June or beyond even our graduation, and it really gives us some flexibility to not agonize over a call to cancel school. It's an opportunity to get out ahead of it and say, we're going to go to an e-learning day tomorrow, and let the kids know, and they can take their computers home, and we can get everything straight. And then Dr. Waterman doesn't have to drive the streets at 4 a.m. looking at how bad the snow is. So ultimately, it's really been a nice tool to have, but it's certainly not one we choose lightly. The plan does require a lot of notification, as you'll see in the attachments. We've notified the bargaining units, we've notified faculty, we've notified parents, we've had an article in the newspaper, so we've checked all the boxes as required. So I'm bringing this to you to approve today, and then we can send the paperwork off to the regional office, to the ISC at West 40, and they will approve our plan. Be happy to answer any questions about the plan if you have any.
So there were no changes? This is standard for what we've done?
This is what we've done in the past, right?
And again, based on state recommendations and following all the...
Correct. So each of the items that are in italics are the requirements of the plan. And so where it says engage students for 5 hours a day, I explain how we do that. So each one of those italicized statements requires a plan, and it's all included in your packet.
I think it's worked well in the past, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's flexibility. So again, sometimes with storms, there are power outages, there are issues. So there's no requirement that kids have to have everything completed by a certain time. they do have the leeway to bring their work in after. That being said, they're also given the access to their teachers during the day, so they can email their teacher any questions. There is a requirement to do attendance, and that communication goes out as well, and that through a Google Sheet, a Google form that they fill out, and then we follow up with that too. So there's a lot of back-end work to make sure every contingency is planned for and that students are not penalized for it. So we found it to work really well. You know, some teachers have that lesson kind of all ready to go once the weather starts to turn, and we certainly send out the communication in November saying, hey, guess what, in case there's a problem, here's what we're going to do. So at this point, it's pretty much routine for our faculty and our students. I think they prefer the snow day, but.
I think they got one last year.
We have one. We have one.
One
built in.
right.
We have one built in
So
this
we
year
have
too.
one
so.
traditional snow day built in the calendar this year. We would use that first. Last year, we used it before winter break, and then when we came out of winter break, we had to use 2 e-learning days right around the holiday.
And historically too, Brian, how has it gone with, like, how much time have we been able to provide people to notify them that we're going to go into?
We've had scenarios where I've been able to notify them at 3 o'clock the day before, and I've had scenarios where I notify them at 5:30 a.m. the morning of. Yeah.
But I know that you have been able to, probably because of this plan in place, you can make that call sooner.
That's more dependent upon like the severity of what they're predicting. Like it really is about that and not about the plan or anything. Yeah.
And everyone feels comfortable that the parents, everyone understands what the protocol is, that we don't have to convey anything else to the parents as far as what does this mean? I mean, you guys have done a pretty good job of explaining to our families.
Well, no, not yet. I would say that's the job we do when we implement it. Like
Right.
so what we do is around Thanksgiving, I will send an email to the whole community that says, hey, winter weather's here in so many words. Here's all the ways we communicate. Here's the decision-making process. Here's the e-learning plan if we need it. And then we don't rely on just that. If we come across where we need to implement it, it would be more communication that would go out about
But
it.
it is something that we do every year. Every year because of the weather.
Right.
Thanks.
Right. Well, if there aren't any other questions, can we please have a motion to approve the resolution to adopt e-learning program in lieu of emergency days as presented?
So moved.
Can we get the roll call, please?
Member Alvarez?
Yes.
Member Vita Daniels?
Yes.
Member Dillon?
Yes.
Member Strewing?
Yes.
Member Thomas?
Yes.
Member Gretsch?
Yes. Thank you, everybody. That concludes our new business, and we've now reached the consent agenda portion of our meeting, which includes the following items: payment of bills and financial statements for LTHS and LADSI for August 2024, human resources items for LTHS and LADSI for September 2024, review and approval of the meeting minutes, overnight trip requests, donations. Can we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Marilyn, would you please call the roll?
Member Vita Daniels?
Yes.
Member Dillon?
Yes.
Member Strewing?
Yes.
Member Thomas?
Yes.
Member Alvarez?
Yes.
Member Gretsch?
Yes. All right, thanks, everybody. And then finally, do we have any additional public participation? We don't. All right, so at this time, the board will be going back into closed session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or specific volunteers of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or a volunteer of the public body, or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. 5 ILCS 120/2C1. Student disciplinary cases, 5 ILCS 120/2C9. The placement of individual students in special education programs and other matters relating to individual students, 5 ILCS 120/2C10. the selection of a person to fill a public office as defined in the Open Meetings Act, including a vacancy in public office, when the public body is given power to appoint under law or ordinance, or the discipline, performance, or removal of the occupant of a public office, when the public body is given power to remove the occupant under law or ordinance 5 ILCS 120/2C3. Can we have a motion to move into closed session, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Marilyn, will you please call the roll?
Member Dillon.
Yes.
Member Struing.
Yes.
Member Thomas.
Yes.
Member Morris.
Yes.
Member Vita Daniels. Yes. Member Gretsch.
Yes. All right. Thanks, everybody. Let's go.
Have a good night.